Welcome back to each and every one of you. How are you doing today? My name is Godwin, and this is Emoji Comes to channel. If you are just checking it for the very first time, I think it's been a long time I mentioned you subscribing or you turn on the notification bell or something like that. It's your choice, right? It's your choice. Okay, so we'll be continuing our discussion on literature review as I promised in the last class. So we are left with empirical review and methodological review. And I also mentioned that we're going to talk about literature table. Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention in the other class, the first class on literature review, was the numbering. Now I spoke about conceptual review first, so that should be 3.1. All right. Then I went to theoretical review. That's 3.2. So empirical review is 3.3. Okay, 3.3 is going to be here. Then empirical review. So 3.4 is a methodological review. So what's empirical review about? Is just about reporting the findings of related journals, the journals that you use that are, related with your subject matter. So it might vary. Okay, for some you might have journals that have done what you are about to do in one way or the other. So you might have journals on the impact of inflation on economic growth in Nigeria. Like you might have quite a number of journals on that topic, really. Okay, so what you are before that, then you could also have other journals, the impact of inflation on South Africa's economy, the impact of inflation on China's economy. Okay, so you could have journals like that. So no problem. So all that you just have to do is you categorize your findings. Okay, you look at the findings. So how do you get to where the findings are? Because here you are doing empirical review. So how do you get to where the empirics are, the findings are? So by the time you check the abstract, so if you check the abstract of every journal, you should see something about the findings. It's going to be summarized. Okay, so the research was carried out, the title of the research is this, it was carried out by this, we employed this methodology and this estimation technique, we got these findings, we discovered that inflation does not have any relationship with Nigeria's economic growth. So if you now need more information based on that finding, you might then go to the last part or second to the last part of the journal. So where you're going to have it could be written as findings, it could be written as conclusion. What you are looking for might be in the conclusion aspect. It could be written as empirical findings. Okay, just findings or empirical findings or conclusion or whatever it is that it is going to be written. It's going to be written like by the time you're seeing this video, I don't know, right? So there might be another style by then. So it could be written in different ways, and sometimes the information that you need might be in a policy recommendation. So it's just good to go through those aspects, the conclusion. If it's written like that, empirical finding, whatever, then you go to policy recommendation. You can read it too. You might just find some things there that you may like to take from. All right. So now I've spoken about you having having literature journals of your country that you can, or of Nigeria and of other countries. It does not matter. Okay, I just really looking at how inflation has affected growth of different countries. But here, because we're talking about Nigeria, okay, so the reviewed journals must be the journals around the subject matter, okay, that are about Nigeria. So most of or a significant amount of the empirical findings you're supposed to be writing here should be about how inflation has affected Nigeria's economic growth. So if it's now supposed to be a new field, okay, where you don't have where journals studies on that topic are scanty, then you might just report the existing ones, the findings of the existing ones, and this scarce one, so report them as well. So the finding of the existing ones which are not about Nigeria might be voluminous, so you write them like that, because really you can't begin to manufacture empirical findings. Okay, that was you searched really, okay, you searched sincerely for journals, and if there's any problem with that, talk about it with your supervisor. I just hope your supervisor is a comrade. Okay, I hope when I say it's a comrade, right, I hope the person is relatable, person is friendly, person has your time, okay, and so on and so forth, so we can exchange ideas. I told at the beginning that in your research work, don't assume or don't believe that your supervisor is going to know more than you do. You are the one carrying out the research, so you are likely going to know more by the end of that research than your supervisor. So one of the things about research is that you are teaching your supervisor some things as well. Okay, your supervisor is there to guide you, put through some things, and he or she is also interested in, or should be interested in, what your research finding is going to be. The method that you use to, and so on and so forth. All right. Now you might have conflicting findings. So which is talking about, okay, when you went through 2012, when she talked about the impact of inflation and just economic growth, you discover that in her findings and the findings of the study, inflation has no relationship with just economic growth. We report it. Okay. Then you went through Chibuke 2018. It said inflation has a positive relationship with Nigeria's economic growth, but it is small. We report it. Okay. Then another person, Odogu, writes, inflation has a negative relationship with Nigeria's economic growth. We report it. You are reporting findings. Okay, so these are conflicting findings, and there are ways you could write them. Number one, you could categorize them, which is what I've written here. That you can categorize the positive findings. Okay, was, I don't know if I mentioned okay as positive now. I don't even remember. But all of the positive findings, all the research, all the studies, all the journals that you went through, that the findings, the conclusion was that inflation is closely related to Nigeria's economic growth. You put them, together. That could occupy maybe 1 or 2 paragraphs where you are just talking about positive relationship. Okay, of course you cite them, you cite the author, you cite the papers, cite CITE or you reference, okay, the papers and and so on and so forth. And based on your supervisor as well, the supervisor may say, no, I don't want you to write the findings like that. I want you to write the findings one after the other. Okay, so what Oke said, you write it. What Chibuke said, another paragraph. What Odogu said, another paragraph, like that. So if you have like 20 journals that you reviewed, you'll be having like 20 paragraphs. They are not long paragraphs really, so it could be maybe 5, 6 lines. Okay, but there in the study, okay, whatever carried out a particular study on the topic, blah 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 blah, using social estimation technique, the result was this and the result was that, because if there was something that was explained in the research to have been a cause of that result, to have been, to have caused that kind of result, you also write it. Okay, so you put them like that, so like 6, 7 lines each one of them. And the other style is for you to categorize related findings regardless of the countries, right, or regardless of the methods. Put them together and say it's because they are telling a story. Okay, and in as much as you're reporting, you should be able to tell a story with what you are doing. Now, for students that are registered with us, you are going to have access to some research material. So you are going to go through the empirical findings to see what I am trying to say, but it's no big deal. So how to get your empirics, I've already told you. Check the abstract, then go to the conclusion, whatever section. Okay, so that's that. Now the methodological review is just talking about you reporting the methods and estimation techniques that previous researchers have used, around your subject matter, around your project topic, or around your research topic, And here I'm talking to economics students or students of economics and of other related fields that you do something like this. Okay, so talk about what kind of model was used. Okay, so person used GACH model. So person used ARC model, ARCH, autoregressive something. Okay, GACH, so general autoregressive C and H. I don't even know. I've forgotten. Okay, so you could all of those stuffs. You could talk about the models and then the estimation techniques. Okay, this person used multiple linear regression. This person used autoregressive distributive lag, which is ARDL. This person used this. This person used that. Okay, so how do you know about the methodology? You also, from the abstract, you will see it, and from there you go down to the methodology part of the journal. So just go down, maybe whatever page it is on. Alright, so we look at what was said about it, so you get to have more information about the methodology. You see the model that will be stated there. Alright, so if anything was tweaked, okay, maybe there was no inflation in the original model, but you then see how these researchers tweaked in inflation. into the model and justifying it. Okay, nice. So that might give you an idea of what to do in your chapter 4. Okay, so it's all about reporting. You're going to have examples of methodological review as well. That's what I'm saying. Now, I've spoken about this. Then you also have to talk about some things regarding the models or the estimation techniques. You talk about the assumption. Okay, why did this person use ARDO? Okay, why do people choose to use ARDO? Okay, what are the bases for using ARDO? And what are the assumptions of ARDO? If the assumptions are separate, I don't have to mention everything. Okay, strengths and weaknesses of ARDO. They do the same thing for other form of models and estimation techniques. If you have, like, let's say 15 estimation techniques in your methodological review, or let me say 12, we might really discuss like 4 of them. When you start at 5 of them, then you mention the others in person and just write briefly about them. Okay, so all of these things still depend though on your supervisor and on your subject matter and on a lot of things. Okay, so it might end up being a few paragraphs, might end up being several paragraphs. It depends. Alright, but one thing that you should note, take note of, is you are going to be using one of the methodology that you have reviewed for the rest of your work. Okay, so you have to discuss that particular model or estimation technique you want to use. You have to use style to discuss it more than others in this particular section. Although you should have discussed all of them, equally, but there is a way that you talk about that one that you want to use. Talk about it more than the rest. And if you have the ability, you can talk about each and every one of them in equal manner. Everything is up to you, your supervisor, the subject matter, and whatever condition that they might be around a particular period. But do note that you'll be using, so you can't get to chapter 4 and mention an estimation technique that was not in your methodology that you reviewed. No. Okay, and if you are going to use, because you might want to use something new, okay, and just talk to your supervisor about it. I want to use a methodology that is not part of what others have used, and you need to have very solid reasons. This particular one is always used when you have this kind of criteria. This one is kind of, but what I want to do, alright, is above this thing. So that is why, if I'm going to use any of the estimation techniques that have been used there, I'll be limiting my work, what I really want to do. Okay. Now, I have a friend at a particular university, and when she was doing her work, variables were stationary at, I think, I naught. Okay, either I naught or first difference, all of them. Alright, and she got stuck along the line, and her data was a panel data. She got stuck along the line, and she said she wanted to do something new or something real. By the time she got stuck, she spoke to her supervisor, and supervisor told her that you should use ARDL. Okay, but she was arguing that with her supervisor, not fighting, right? But she was presenting her point that for you to use ARDL, your variables have to be a mix. Okay, the stationarity has to be mixed. Either some of the variables are stationary at I naught, and some of them are stationary at I1. In as much as you have a mix, I naught, I1, that's when you should use ARDL. So something like that might come up. Okay, all of the methods that you've found in previous studies may be limited in one way or the other, in a way that's going to place a limitation on you, on your own research, if you were to use any of them. So you might introduce a new methodology, okay, but talk it out with your supervisor. Don't go on and use a methodology and continue like that without your supervisor's notice. Alright, so from there you'll be guided and so on and so forth. So I think that's about methodological review. So literature table is not something that is required inside your project or inside your research work, but it is a tool that helps you. It is ethic to develop, I must not lie to you, okay, or it might be ethic to develop, okay, but it's a tool that makes your work that makes it easier to do. I didn't say easy, not it. It makes your work easier to do. Why? Because in your literature table is a summary. It's a table that presents a summary of important aspects of journals that you are reviewing. Now it has different colors depending on what you are looking out for. Now I divided the literature table here. First column has the journal title. So here the title of the journal, impact of inflation and economic growth in in Britain, okay, or in the UK. If that's the topic, that's the title. Then author, who are the people? Chukudi et al. 2017. Yeah. Theory. What theory did they use? Aerodoma endogenous growth theory. What methodology did they use? This, that. What was their findings, or what were their findings? I put them there. Now, let's say I want to also include policy recommendation. I can also create a column for that. So this is for the first journal, second journal, third journal. So all of the journals that you are looking at, you can just put them on a literature table. So when you need a piece of information, instead of you to start ransacking through all the journals that you have, bring multiple pages on your computer screen and what have you, so you can easily check the literature table that you've developed. Oh, okay. Now I didn't even include concepts here. There might be concepts. Okay, I just look at it. Okay, journal 1 talked about economic growth. Journal 5 talked about CPI. Journal 9 talked about CPI. Journal 12 talked about CPI. Journal 16 talked about CPI. So I can just take those ones I talked about, so I know, okay, CPI. If I need information on CPI, I just pick those journals that I have, and open them, take whatever I want to do, done. Okay, now if I'm doing my empirical review, for example, so I can easily, okay, pick each journal, go to the pick each journal, the journal 1 that I've written here, what was their finding, I pick it there. The other journal I pick, so I don't have to be opening the journals, again. So it just makes your work easier. Some supervisors will recommend it for you, that you should do it to make your work easier. Some won't bother to tell you, okay, because it is not something that is required inside your project. It is just a tool for you to make your work easier to do. So I don't think I will compare you to write a literature table. Like I said, it depends on you, how fast, how easier you want your work, to be. So with that, we've come to the end of chapter 3, literature review. So chapter 4, we'll be talking about methodology, which is where your own work as a researcher really starts. Yeah, chapter 4, methodology. Then chapter 5 is analysis. Chapter 6 is when you call it a day. Okay, so your assignment in this particular video is then to write the chapter 3 of your work, the literature review of your work, and between 1450 to 1500 words maximum. Just try to find a way to summarize whatever you want to write. 1450 to 1500 words. It's okay. So write a literature review, then we submit, we go through and do what you want to do. So thank you very much for watching this particular class. Thank you for being here. And if you're a student, one of our students, thank you very much for being one of our students. And I hope you're enjoying the class, you're enjoying the course. If you have difficulties, you know where to find us, right? Okay. So that's all about that. See you in the next class. Bye.